Mike O'Neill and I are sitting down here to talk about the coastal apartment market within Orange County. There's a lot of things going on. The market continues to warm up, and Mike and I have been selling transactions in the marketplace, helping investors out. So if you're watching this video, you're thinking about maybe divesting of a property along the coast, or you just want to get some good market insights, this is a good video to watch. So Mike, lead us off. Tell us what's going on in the marketplace right now.
Well, the coast is absolutely on fire right now, and people are like, oh, what specific markets? For us, it's really not mattering if it's in Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, Laguna Beach, San Clemente, all those markets. We are uncovering great real estate, and then investors are paying top dollar. I'm seeing a lot of investors. It's either 50-50. So far this year, we've sold 24 coastal properties, so that's one every other week. We're closing. Pretty incredible. And then they're either cashing out or doing a 1031 exchange to improve their cash flow.
That's true, because real estate has appreciated so well along the coast, especially the return on investors' equity is lower because their equity's built up so much. So their returns are, sometimes Mike and I look at these returns and they're 1 to sometimes as high as 3%, sometimes higher, but usually it's 1 to 2%. So they could 1031 exchange up, maybe get into something more passive, or maybe get into more units and really double that return on equity, or go more than that. You know, if it's 1%, we've seen it get up to like 3, 3.5, 4, depending on if they're taking on debt or whatnot. But you can increase your cash flow, and maybe you can kind of get into another asset for pick up some more depreciation. Maybe you want to get into another market. You've got investors that are going out of state. Right. You've got some that are doubling down here. You got some that are going into DSTs.
Right, we've sold a bunch of smaller properties in San Clemente for an investor. He exchanged into a larger property. And then we've had just recently a closing happen a week ago where that investor went into an out-of-state DST too. So there's so many different options, and there's going to be people listening to this video right now and says, okay, well, I'm going to wait for the election to get over. I'm going to wait for rates to drop. I mean, we're here to tell you that the market's already moving, right? And yes, it could be better next year. It could be worse next year. We don't know. But we can tell you exactly right now, there's tons of capital pouring into coastal Orange County. And these people are coming from up north. They're coming from out of state. And then also in here too, 1031s are picking up. So we're able to get some multiple offers on most of our listings.
And to that point, as before we filmed this video, we're going through counting up the number of transactions that were taking place, and some of the most recent transactions have sold or gone under contract within 72 hours of us launching and taking the opportunity to our investor database. So we've had multiple properties. Some of those have closed cash or with bridge financing, but these buyers have showed up quickly and then have stepped and put their best foot forward and closed escrow. So some of these properties also have had some deferred maintenance issues, and some of those are just not cosmetic. There was one property, the entire building had to get rewired. The sub panels were older, the main panel was older, and the wiring needed to be upgraded. It was an older coastal property, and our buyer was disclosed this up front, knew about it, and said, I'm willing to move forward and close this all cash. And the seller went with the buyer, and that was done within less than 72 hours.
Right, and we had multiple offers on that one, right? So what we want to know whenever we list a property, the good, the bad, the indifferent. A lot of sellers are having some pain point with their electrical right now, SB 721 with our deck inspections. A lot of insurance companies are making these sellers upgrade, right? And for us, as long as we know all this information, we're able to select the right buyer that is able to perform in a timely fashion for you too. I can't speak for other markets, but here on the coast, we know who's buying, who's selling, and who's exchanging.
Exactly, and we really understand the buyer's needs. And does a buyer have a track record of acquiring real estate, multifamily real estate? Have they bought properties with deferred maintenance? Do they like the buildings that are nice and fixed up? We've sold properties that are really high-end fixed up, and it's a certain buyer for that. And then there's a certain different buyer that's willing to buy the heavy lift stuff that you got to go in and really fix assets up. We've had properties we sold this year that had structural issues. We had a retaining wall that had to be retrofitted, right? That was disclosed up front. Seller wanted to go with a buyer that was just going to take it, and we, Mike and I and our team, shout out to Jack, found the right buyer to close that. So not everyone was easy, but within our network, we were able to make it happen.
Yeah, too. And outside of just finding the correct buyer, what our team is able to do is find the correct lender for you, the property manager if you need one, and then insurance companies. We have an insurance broker, Layden Peterson, shout out to you, who's been able to help us obtain quotes when a lot of other people are exiting the market for insurance companies. We're able to get attractive insurance quotes for these buyers.
That is very true. And to that point, as we shoot this video, just an hour and a half ago, Mike and I went under contract on a triplex here in Eastside Costa Mesa in a market that we're passionate about. And it's with a repeat buyer that wanted to get something closed by the year end. And we set them up. We got them the property, number one, and we got the electrician out there to check the panels. We got the roofer out there. We got our inspector out there. We already got them lined up with a lender who's getting a fantastic rate in the mid fives for 30-year fixed, or it's a 30-year fixed loan, but 7 years of IO. Mm-hmm. So it's fixture, interest only for the first 7, and then it goes adjustable after that. But this rate's like in the mid fives. So the buyer's just like, Dan, you got us the property. Dan and Mike got us the property. You got all the inspectors lined up. You got us a lender. It's just like already thought through. You've already done a lease audit. You've already gone through the due diligence. I just need to walk through the units in and out.
That's pretty good. Sign me up for that.
Yes.
All that right there.
Yeah.
So and it doesn't matter if it's a smaller property like a triplex or a 30 unit, 60 unit, it doesn't matter. The same level of service, whoever calls in, we're here to help. And it's not just Dan and I as well. We have a whole team backing us of agents, staff, everybody rowing in the same boat to help out you, the clients.
Absolutely. So I think it's, owners want to make sure they get the highest price, the best terms, and a buyer that's going to perform. And Mike and I and our entire team is aligned with that need. So if you own a property up and down the coast and you're thinking about selling it, or you've tried selling it before and you maybe had a false start with another broker, we welcome the opportunity to have a conversation with you. This is what Mike and I do every day. So we have the track record, and most importantly, we're delivering. And it's really because we're listening to what clients want, and we're aligning kind of the right properties with the right level of capital and what this buyer's looking for, and making sure it's a high likelihood that we're going to close. So if we can help out in any way, let us know. Also, we have our investor database that is growing, and I'm starting to mention this on every video because we're growing this because it has turned into become very valuable for sellers. We have a buyer investor group that we have an email list vetted of over 11,000 investors, and these investors come in the market, they're in an exchange, and they say, I need to buy something. So we marry them up with the right property. So if you want to get access to our investor list, if you want to get on that newsletter, if you want to start seeing deal flow from us, let us know, comment below, send us a message, and we'll get you added. But if you're a seller and you're already receiving information from us, that is working and it's helping us sell properties. So if we can help you in any way, let Mike or myself know. All right, well, that's it. That's a wrap, and we look forward to closing more transactions up and down the coast and helping investors out. Thanks again for watching, and Mike and I will see you again soon.